I'm Ellen Morgan, and I'm talking about the webinar I watched was the role of accommodations from the EARN website. And we're talking about what I learned about accommodations in the videos. They discuss that it's not a one size fits all. Accommodations are many different things. And one thing I did want to address was that accommodations through the ADA must be reasonable. So the webinar addressed the fact that reasonable means feasible and possible to provide from the employer. So there might be something that the employee wants that's an accommodation that is unreasonable for the company to provide. Like they want to work less hours than everyone else, but and provide less services. The rule has to be equivalent to be reasonable, and it has to benefit both the employer and the employee. Um, Something that was also from the EARN website when we went through that module and we looked at all the accommodations and was inclusive. Accommodations make sure that every employee feels valuable and included. One of the presenters made it was Jed from Stakes Manufacturing made the point that the social impact and fulfillment that the people feel, their employees feel, all employees, because they have accommodations, makes everyone feel inclusive. He used the words, they feel safe, they feel at home. And it's not just employees that have disabilities that benefit from accommodations being offered in the workplace. Everyone feels included in that. Everyone feels more safe to say, my needs are not being met, please help me. Um, so that is one way that disability inclusion was present in the content. They're saying that accommodations make the workplace inclusive for everyone. Um, Robert Blake from NASA was talking about morale and retention rates being higher across the board. So, because they're offering accommodations for employees, morale is higher for all employees, making it a more inclusive environment. The question number 3, how did the training address accessibility? Well, accommodations is accessibility. Some of the accommodations that can be offered are maybe you work in an environment that is on the bottom floor, so you don't have to walk up and down steps all day long. That's a physical accessibility. Just the concepts of universal design, making sure that doors open, that lights work for everybody, so that it's not just an accommodation for one person, it's an accommodation across the board, making life in the workplace easier for everyone. Um, the state of disability employment engagement talked about inclusion and equity, and it speaks to how the employee feels at their workplace. So having accommodations through this webinar was talking about, hey, most of the employees feel more confident and better at their job because of accommodations. Um, and I think that working in classrooms and at school, that this would really benefit me to make sure that I'm making sure that I have to give accommodations for my students, or that if I needed accommodations, that I was able to speak through and say, hey, these are things that I need as a teacher that I'm not receiving and that I need to do my job properly. So I think that for everybody, when you're working with in an environment that is inclusive, and you're working in an environment that offers freedom to speak and really say what you need, is really important. Um, One thing I did want to mention was Jed from Stakes Manufacturing did talk about one of their employees was taking a nap. Um, and he was talking about how and they were letting it because they thought that it was an accommodation. And he mentioned that uh, you have to learn through failure, and you have to go through a professional standard. Is this meeting a professional standard when you're talking about accommodations? The employee did not need a nap for their accommodations. They were just getting one because they were taking advantage of that. So I think the balance has to be there. You still have to make sure that you're being professional and working through those things. So all of those things were really cool about the webinar, and I really liked listening to actual employees and actual directors talking about, hey, how they're implementing accommodations. And sometimes they're not necessarily reasonable, and sometimes we fail. Jed did mention that they were doing a meeting and their technology for their deaf employees did not work, and it made them feel not included. But he was aware of it, and so sometimes it's trial and error, and being aware of our mistakes and working towards a better environment is the solution, and making sure that the accommodations are being met and all employees are feeling included. So thank you.